So one very important question that they will ask you in exam is to name organic compounds. So we can follow these very simple steps to answer those questions properly. Your step one is to locate the longest carbon chain in your compound, which is going to be, in this case, this is going to be your longest carbon chain, and name that longest carbon chain. Now it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. So this will be but. And look at your entire hydrocarbon. It does not have any double bonds, or it does not have any OH or nothing else. It's very simple. So it's simply going to be an alkane. So your name is just butane. So when you have written this, you can always check with your formula, right? It's CnH2n plus 2. So you should have 4 carbon atoms and 10 hydrogen atoms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, you can check it yourself. But let's try to do some more complicated ones. Okay, so you have identified your longest hydrocarbon chain, which is the same thing again. And we have already named it, right? It's going to be BUT, but. But we have to figure out what is our ending could be. Right now, we can see that there is a double bond here. So it will be butene. But then we need to tell our examiners where our double bond is. So let's try to write down where can it be. Okay. Alright, I'm going to erase this. So to do that, you're going to number your carbon atoms. So it can either be 1, 2, 3, 4, or it can be the other way around, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. If we are picking the red part, your butene name would be but. Sorry, if you're picking the red line, your number would be but1ene. If you're picking the yellow counting, it will be but3ene. But here, what you're going to do is that you write your organic compounds which would produce the smallest number possible, and that is why your answer should be but1ene, and it cannot be but3ene. So this is the correct one. Alright, let's try to do this, okay? So we now have identified our longest chain, which is only 2, right? So since it's only 2, it's going to be eth. And we know that we have an OH group attached to it, okay? So it's going to be ending with O, so your name is simply going to be ethanol. But notice here that you do not need to write ethane 1-ol or 2-ol, because no matter which side that you count it from, either 1, 2 or 1, 2, it is still going to produce the same number. Okay, so that's why it is just going to be ethanol. Alright, so let's try to name this compound. Okay, so first we locate the longest hydrocarbon chain, which is again here in this case this one. Okay, we have 4 carbon atoms, so this will be butane. Now figure out what ending it should be. We have an OH group, so we know that it is ending with OL. Okay, it's an alcohol. Butane something ol. Okay, so what is this something? You must tell where your OH group is. So it can either be 1, 2, 3, 4, or it can also be 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can write butane 2-ol or butane 3-ol. Which one are you picking? You must be picking a smaller number. That's why it will be butane 2-ol. Alright, so let's try to draw some display formula of the following compounds. Okay, for ethane, I know that since it's N in A and E, I don't have any double bond or alcohol groups. Okay, and since it's eth, it's simply going to be 2 carbon atom. Then I fill up the rest. Now, my another one is propene. So since it's N in E and E, I know that there is going to be a double bond. So propene would be 1 carbon. Alright, sorry, propene would be 3 carbon atoms. And since it ends in E and E, you can put your double bond on either side. So since I already have 2 bonds here, I can only fit in 2 more. I can only fit 1 here because 1, 2, 3, 4. I can fit 3 here. Okay, so this is the structure of propene. So butane we have tried before. Ethanol we have tried before. Let's do for propanol. So for propanol, you should know that since it's propane, I know that I have 3 carbon atoms. And since it's 1 all, I know that I have from all, I know I have 1 OH group. And since it's 1, it can either be at the front or at the back. Then for the rest, you simply fill in. Okay, so notice here that even if you write it this way, which is this way, you should know that this is simply going to be propan 1 all. And another thing to notice is all of your empirical formula to display formula definitions. Okay, because sometimes in exam they'll tell you what is actually a structural formula, and you have to be able to tell them, oh, it shows us how the atoms and the molecules are joined together. Okay, so this is very important for you to learn. Pause the video and try to learn these 4 right now. So one other thing for us to learn is the branch chains. Okay, so your methane is simply CH4. But in the case where we remove one H and try to attach this group into a long chain, this little group or branch becomes something called methyl. And if we have 2 carbon atoms, it becomes ethyl. So YL tells you that it is a branch, and the met or the eth in front simply tells you how many carbon atoms do you have. But the rest is still going to be the same. Okay, for example, let's try to name this compound. What do you do first? You always try to find the longest carbon chain, which is going to be, in this case, this one, right? Alright, why? Because if you select the second part that I'm going to draw now, it's only going to be 1, 2, 3. We don't want that. We want our main chain to be as long as possible, so we're picking 4. Now, we know that our methyl group is here, so let's try to write it down step by step. Because I know that this is 4 carbon atoms, but there's nothing else. It's all single bonds, so this is simply butane. And now I have a methyl group, right? So because CH3 is methyl, it's right here, so it's going to be methyl butane. But then again, I need to tell where my methyl group is, so it can either be 1, 2, 3, 4, or it can be 1, 2, 3, 4. As usual, we want our number to be as small as possible, so that our name is going to be 2-methylbutane. Notice that you do not need any space between methyl and butane, but you do need an underscore between, or a symbol dash between a number and a name. So let's try to do this on your own for the second one. Okay, Alright, so your name should be 3-ethyl-hexane, okay? So if you didn't get it right, you need to go back and look at the video again and try this on your own again. Alright, so let's try to name our displayed formula given here, okay? So right now, let's find our longest carbon chain, which is going to be this one here, right? Okay, so how many carbon atoms? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is going to be pent. And I know that there is a double bond here, so it's going to end in E and E. So where is my double bond located? It can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or it can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm picking a smaller number, so it's going to be pent 2-ene. My molecular formula is simply the addition of everything, okay? So it's going to be C5H10 because there's 5 carbon and 10 hydrogen atoms. My empirical formula is simply CH2. Now, for this one, it's quite tricky, so let's take a look at this. So your longest chain could either be this one, 1, 2, 3, okay, or it could be this one, 1, 2, 3, or it can be this one, 1, 2, 3. But no matter which one you use, your longest chain is still going to be only 3. So I'm going to put it this way. Now pay attention because this is something new, okay? So since I have 3 carbon atoms, it's going to be propane, right? P-R-O-P, all single bonds, so it's going to be A-N-E, propane. Now, how many methyls group do I have? I have 2. I have 1 here, I have 1 here. So normally we would write it as methyl, but since we have 2 of them, we will write dimethyl, okay? So let's just simply put dimethyl here, okay? And that's not all yet. Where is this dimethyl located? So one methyl is located at 2, and another one is also located at 2, okay? Because it's 1, 2, 3, right? So it will be 2, 2 dimethyl propane. So notice that you have to write the location 2 times, okay? So because each number only represents each group, that's why you need to write 2,2 dimethyl propane. I'm sure you'll be able to do molecular formula and empirical formula. So let's try the last one, okay? And let's find our longest chain, which is this one. Since it's 3 carbon, I know that it has to do something with propane. And since there is an OH group attached, I know that there is going to be OL, okay? It's an alcohol group, propanol, okay? But where is my OH group located? It's either 1, 2, 3, or if we count it backwards, it's still 1, 2, 3. So this is simply propan2ol. So your molecular formula would be C, how many carbon? 1, 2, 3. How many hydrogen? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you have OH. Your empirical formula is going to be the same as your molecular formula because why? You don't have anything else to ratio about, okay? This is the last simplest ratio already. Alright, so this time, let's try to draw from the names again, okay?